Secretary Sutters and I have both had conversations before yesterday with members of the incoming administration. I mean, obviously, Rochelle Walensky, who is, I guess, today, the new director of the CDC, served on the Lieutenant Governor's and ours Medical Advisory Board, and Eric Lander is going to be, who's also on that Medical Advisory Board, is going to be serving in the cabinet as the President's Chief Science Advisor. We haven't talked to anybody since inauguration. Most of the conversations that took place beforehand were really around this whole issue of visibility into the pipeline, because it's visibility into the pipeline that gives us the information we need to anticipate when we're going to have opportunities to significantly expand distribution and vaccination practice here in Massachusetts. At this point in time, the major message we got at this point in transition is to expect at least what we got the last few weeks, which is around that 80,000 doses a week. The Biden administration has talked about 100 million doses in 100 days. That would be about a 25% increase from the 800,000 doses that are currently in people's arms on a daily basis to 1 million doses in people's arms every day. My guess is that over the course of the next 10 days to 2 weeks, they will get a much better appreciation about what their pipeline looks like and can then hopefully make that information available to states and to providers. The other big sort of hanging curve in all this that we should remember is, I probably should have used a football analogy, I apologize for that, would be there are two other vaccines that are currently wrapping up their clinical inquiry. One is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is one shot and doesn't require the deep freeze or the cold storage that the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines require, and the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is a 2-dose vaccine as well. If those get approved at some point in the not-too-distant future, and they go into mass production, that could have a really big impact on the amount of vaccine that will be available for the feds to distribute, and therefore the amount that will be available for folks like the people here to actually inoculate people with.
And as governor, I mean, you've been running the state's COVID response and oftentimes, at times, critical of the federal government for not giving you more help. Do you feel like after seeing the basics of the Biden plan, do you feel like you're going to get the support you need?
I certainly think the fact that this has been an issue that the president and the vice president and people on their team have talked about almost every day for the past month is a pretty solid indicator that it is going to be a very high priority for them. That is critically important, I think, to us when we think about how we should be anticipating what happens next. I do think the Johnson & Johnson product, the AstraZeneca product, if they get through the process and we then have 4 companies manufacturing instead of 2, and one of them's manufacturing a 1-dose vaccination, that could dramatically expand capacity in a pretty short period of time, which would make, obviously, for all of us who are incredibly impatient to get this thing rocking, a really big difference.
Is the state's distribution system, the mass vaccination sites, various places, is it ready to go? If all of a sudden the Fed starts sending you a lot of vaccine, is it just basically getting it into the pipe, or is it going to take you a little while longer to get more sites online and get people to make appointments and things like that?
I think within the next 10 days to 2 weeks, you're going to see a lot more site infrastructure in Massachusetts. A lot more.
Governor,